You talk about where your empty hand on a lot of your katas come from. What about your weapons? Where would you say the source of your weapons comes from?
Well,
how far back can you go?
Well, Matsumoto Sato's style has unlike many Okinawan styles, we have our own weapon system. A lot of it was originated by Hohan Soken, and some of it also comes through Mushi Matsumura and so forth. But you know, Soken was Hohan Soken, the late Grand Master, was a true pioneer and modern Kobudo, although he called it Kobujitsu, and he deserves a lot of credit for keeping that art alive. Most of it comes directly or indirectly through Hohan Soken.
I know you told me a story one time before about him coming to a demonstration. Other people would be there demonstrating their styles and everybody would stop to watch him.
Yeah, this story was told to me. I wasn't on the trip that did this, but by a man named Ken Cohen. And he told me about, it was at Ishikawa, and there was some type of festivity there where people were practicing the Rokushaku, the fighting style. And so Soken drove up and got out of the car. Some GIs, American GIs, drove him up to the event. Got out of the car, took his bow. All the Okinawan practitioners sat down, and he performed his kata, Chikin bow, which was Grandmaster Soken's favorite bow kata. And after he finished the kata, within a short time he got back in the car and they went home. And then the other Okinawan people continued with their bow festa. But that shows you the respect that they had for Hohan Soken's skill with the bow. Yeah. Now, Weiichi Kuda told me that he was uncanny, his skill with the Rokushaku bow compared to the other Kobujitsu practitioners on the island.
Not only do you practice bow and kama and sai, but you also practice sword.
Yeah, I'm a self-taught swordsman. I'm not a particular polished, pretty swordsman, but I think my sword skill is pretty effective. And I do not practice just kata. We actually fight with the weapons.
Right. We also got a video on YouTube of me and both going at it with the bow.
Oh, I didn't think you would mention that. Because the best I can remember, you smashed my fingers with the bow.
Well, I think you got your piece in all. What future do you see for your next book? What do you want to write about next?
Well, if I live long enough to do another book, I want to start with the peanut katas. Allegedly, they are the tiger, the five-animal fist, the Shorin-ryu equivalent of the five-animal fist of the Shaolin temples in China. The tiger the peanut katas are said to be the tiger, and also the Seisan katas. So I'd like to do Shorin-ryu's tiger kata, which would be the Pinan and Seisan kata. That's probably what I would like to do next.
How long do you think it would take you to write something like this? I know this took you a considerable...
Well, it's not going to take me as long as that one, because you also have to understand I learned how to use a computer writing that book, basically. And, you know, from somebody like me who really we didn't have computers, and I didn't grow up with computers. Learning a computer is kind of a cultural shock. But I got it done, so anyway. And I was fortunate enough to have a lot of help from my students and my children and so forth who taught me how to use a computer, basically.
Well, I tell you, this book has been phenomenal. I've been able to put it down. I always read a couple of pages. If not every night, at least once a week, I'll take time and read through it. What would you say would be your most favorite subject that's in the book that you covered? What would be the most favorite thing you wrote about?
Well, I think there's a story in there about a famous Okinawan karate man named Ajina. And this story was given to one of my students, a man named Mike Mueller. Mike retired from the U.S. Army. He was a medic, staff sergeant in Special Forces, and studied with me for about 18 months back in the 90s. And anyway, he gave this story was given to him by his hooch maid, a lady who took care of the quarters where Mike lived off the military post. And so this is about Agena, the old warrior from Agena village, and how his wife sent him off to buy a sewing machine in Naha City. So it has a little bit about his adventures as he goes off to find the sewing machine, to buy the sewing machine. So anyway, I found it to be unique because it is taken from the lady taught herself how to type in English. And so it's her English, broken English, and she spoke a heck of a lot better English than I do Japanese or Okinawan Hogan. But anyway, I inserted it in my book just like it was a photograph, because I just could not duplicate the way she expressed herself in her writing. So I left it just like she did. So I find that to be unique, and I was lucky that Mike Mueller shared that story with me. So anyway, that's my favorite part.
Tell us about this young guy that's in the back of the book that's in all these photos, that's demonstrating a lot of your technique.
Well, that's my son, Eric. Eric is been practicing since he was 7 years old. He's in his mid-30s now. And he does a real good job. He, in my opinion, is one of the better young karate masters that we have in this country. So he does a lot of work. My oldest son, Brett, climbed on the roof of my house and made the bird's eye views that you see in there, where we talk about different fighting techniques as seen from above, so to speak. And my whole family got involved, and all my students. I know I drove them crazy, computer questions and all kinds of little assignments that they carried out for me. But and some of them I broke their ribs and times like that, doing different things. No, I'm not going to mention any names. But by the way, how is your rib? Well, you nearly broke my hand, so it turns out fair play. Anyway, so no, Eric's a very good karate. He's an Austin policeman. He's a good cop, does a good job, and you know, he was a lot of help. And his wife Tanya was chief photograph and one of my chief computer gurus, because I had a lot of things I had no idea how to do with a computer, so she did a lot of that for me. So it was a family affair. It was my extended karate family got all involved, and you know, and they're continuing doing it with this interview, by the way.
Well, we hope to have you around for a lot more. We hope to get many more books out of you. I don't think there's much more that we can say, but thank you. Thank you for writing this book, and we hope that you can get another together for us.
I appreciate my students, and every year we have the Kata Festival, you know, as you well know. It's conducted in May, and it's like a family reunion for us. We may have a barbecued wild hog, or no telling what all that we feed everybody. It's just a ball. I have a great time. And anyway, the book's available on Amazon. Autographed copies are available by contacting me. You can contact oldfightingarts.com and reach my website. The directions on how to purchase the book through PayPal are there. And pretty well, if I've received orders by PayPal or a check through the mail or whatever the case may be, I generally get this book out to them the next day. So I try to, you know, I sign the book, and I always try to put a little saying in there and so forth that hope will inspire the reader of my book. So the book's available, and you know, it'll be available for a long time. And meantime, I'm sitting around wondering exactly, should I go off on a great adventure of writing another book or not? It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed putting that book down, and I enjoyed being a little creative. I even put some drawings in there that I did. And I didn't know I could draw, but I thought about it for a while, and I made some good drawings. And Chuck Chandler made a number of drawings for me. Different people, Albert Lucio, Carpus, Texas, Carpus Christi, Texas, made some great drawings. So had a lot of help from a lot of people. And all the guys that I've trained, I've learned something from every one of them. I mean, I know you people think that I taught you a lot, but there's just about as much information rolling back to me too from the students. So every day is a good day, and I enjoy the book. I enjoy selling the book. I enjoy talking to people about the book. So, you know, if folks have any questions, look me up on the internet. You can find me, and I'll talk karate with them. I enjoy doing that for, you know. My wife will sometimes fuss at me because I spend all my time on the computer or on the telephone talking about karate, but that's just the way us old karate guys are. We never tire of the subject.
Are you going to pick up doing some seminars?
Well, I'm available for seminars at any time. All they have to do is contact me. And I do a number of seminars at my at my dojo, Charlie Dean's dojo in Montgomery, Texas. I have a seminar or two here and there in West Virginia and other places. So I do a number of seminars a year, and I enjoy doing them. They're a lot of fun.
Well, I think at the end of this interview there'll be some information posted up on a page of how you can get in contact with Mr. Lindsey, all of his contact information, and you can get a hold of him for the book or for a seminar or any other karate question you might want to pose to him. I think we'll conclude this interview unless there's anything else you'd like to add, Sensei.
Well, thank you for the interview.